What's going on, everyone? It's Timothy with the Interior Design Consultant Podcast. So sorry it's been forever. I feel like it's been forever. And I hope everyone had an amazing holiday season and your New Year's off to an amazing start. Mine sure is. 2019 fucking sucked. So I'm hoping that 2020, which it has been so far, thankfully, is going to be phenomenal. Actually, I feel it. Spiritually, I feel it. It's there. It's going to be a great year. I had so much shit happen at the end of 2019. And so now that that's gone and I'm starting fresh, I'm still busy as ever. And I just wanted to make sure that while I had the day off today, I still wanted to deliver this because it's been quite a while. So one thing we're going to talk about, actually really it's the only thing we're going to talk about, is managing costs. One of the biggest struggles for just about any interior design firm is managing costs, labor, materials, marketing, and even monthly phone bills, and adding it up and running a business. Really, at the end of the day, what is all of your fucking overhead? Like, what is everything that you got to pay for? And honestly, it's a huge undertaking because you have your personal life to deal with and you have your business to deal with. So it's not just a matter of, oh, let's just, row with the, or row, what is that saying? Fucking row with the flow? Whatever, I'm just going to use it anyway. You want to row with the flow. For most interior design firms, managing the cost of materials is literally the biggest challenge. Labor costs can spiral out of control if a project takes longer than initially anticipated, or if a client changes their mind too much mid-project. Inefficiencies in your workflow, and yes, I'm pointing to you. Inefficiencies in your workflow can actually be very, very costly in terms of both time and money. So many firms look to improve their procedures, like ensuring they have great accounting processes. But for me, it's always been about crossing your T's and dotting your I's. When you're going and doing a project, you're always going to make sure that you're selecting the right material and you're knowing exactly what the cost is in regards to that. It's not just going to a trade show and seeing a carpet that you're going to use for a client and being like, oh, okay, $2 a square foot, great, let me go with that, and purchasing it. You don't realize that now you have to do the padding, and the padding is going to be an additional, $1.50 a square foot, and then the labor for that. And then there's also, how much percentage of the waste that you're going to need, and you're not accounting for, the waste, and you're just, measuring to make sure you get the right amount of square footage, not realizing there is going to be waste. So a lot of it comes into your not only experience, but making sure you fucking look at every little detail that you can look at possible for any material and any labor costs. So personally, my way of doing things is I double and triple and sometimes even quadruple my process on even a single material. So for example, I'll finally go, find a, piece of tile that I really, really enjoy and want to use for a project. I'll get the cost, I'll get the shipping. I'll bring that tile to my contractor and say, here's the tile we want. Let me know how much you need. And then I always do 20% over on just any kind of waste, and for additional stuff, just in case a year down the road the client breaks a tile, hey, there's already some set aside for that. Then you look at, on the contractor side, all right, how much is the labor? How much is the mortar? Do you want to get the mortar? Do you want us to get the mortar? Do you want to get the grout? Do you want us to get the grout? And if your contractor wants you to get it, now you have to source that. How much grout do you need? How much mortar do you need? There's so many moving parts to the material and the design, and so many things that go into it that ultimately come down to the right pricing structure. Because if you're not going to find all of that information, ultimately at the end of the day, that price is going to be coming out of your markup and your profits, because the client's not going to be like, oh, well, you fucking told me that it's going to be 120 square feet, and now you're telling me that you need an additional 60, 70 square feet. Well, guess what? You're going to pay for that, not me. Because you as a designer are the professional, you should know how much it is. So I would say create a process of your own. I could probably help you with that. I'll probably wind up writing something up and putting it on the store for free. But when it comes to the process for that, you really need to write down everything that you need to look at and make it like a checklist. Like if there's flooring, how much of the flooring you're going to need, how much waste you're going to need, what is the type of mortar you're going to need, how much of that you're going to need. And the list goes on and on and on. And so it's really, really important that when you're managing costs, and this goes down to like even your phone bill and your internet bill and literally everything that you deal with your business on a design stance, it goes down to managing that. And even more so, it comes down to your profits too, making sure that the project and what you're being charged, or what you're charging rather, is going to be sufficient enough for what you're actually doing. For example, I just got a client, and the client I've dealt with 3 times before in 3 additional projects. And this particular client is someone who really needs to be, they need their hand held, for lack of better words. And so right off the bat, I knew that there's going to be a lot more time involved in this project. So I had to increase that hourly rate a little bit, just because the last 3 projects we did, I knew exactly how this particular client was going to be. And I needed to account for that, because what I wound up discovering when on project 1 and 2 was that when I did my hourly rate for her, it was actually a discounted rate. And so I realized the amount of time that I was spending on that project, it made that hourly rate go from $210 an hour, and it dwindled down. I think at the end of the day, it was like $72 an hour, because of the amount of time that this client needed me to hold her hand. So it's really, really important that you understand every process that goes into everything: paint, flooring, furniture selection, fixtures, and so on and so forth. And you really have to hone in on the amount of money that it's going to be for you to actually get that product installed. And then on top of that, you need to make sure that's not going to dip into your profits. You definitely don't want to have, a piece of material that at the end of the day you fucked up on, and now you have to basically get no money out of it because you need to account for that. So I think when it comes down to your process, I think it needs to also be towards or geared towards your specific firm. So understanding your own business and how you work with your clients, and your process that you take with your clients with designing, it really needs to match that, because the last thing you want is for your material selection process to be misconstrued, and at the end of the day, it's still going to cost you money because it doesn't work with the same process that you're having with your client, whether that be the timing or the budget, or many different factors can go into that. So when it comes to managing a lot of those costs, at the end of the day, if you really think about it, it comes down to you as an individual and how you're going to run your business. And it's the same thing as a personal life too. You're not going to go just ambiguously paying bills. You need to make sure that your rent's paid, and your phone bill and your internet bill and your gas and your electric. And at least me personally, what I do, I actually pay my gas bill, because here in California we have natural gas. So I pay that bill every quarter. And the reason why is because unlike the electric company, when they will turn you off in a heartbeat, the gas company won't. So every quarter I pay it, and it's really only $25 a month for my gas bill. So every quarter I'm paying $75. So that way, every single month, I'm not having to come up with that extra $25. Whereas every quarter I just come up with that, that 75 total. It's actually the same way. It's just how you're managing that. So it's the same kind of difference in a way. The second part of managing costs really comes down to keeping the cash flowing. In addition to the managing of your cost, interior design firms often face cash flow challenges. So a lot of designers require deposits before they'll do any work, precisely for this reason. They do need an influx of cash to purchase materials or pay for workers to do the job. Me personally, I actually ask for, I ask for 50% of the total design fee up front, and that's non-refundable. But usually what I've been doing, and I do this more often, is I just do 10 hours up front at our hourly rate. But anytime we purchase something, whether it be material or actually really just material, furniture, fixtures, so on and so forth, I always ask the client to pay that 100% upfront, because number one, as designers, we're ordering those really to order. The second thing is because if a client pays for something up front, that it doesn't leave the room for to change their mind. The other thing too is a lot of times I'd actually rather just pay the full bill for that material than have to ask for the client for half up front. And then what happens if the project goes sour and your client doesn't want to pay the other half? Then you're fucked, because now you are in bad terms with your vendor. So when it comes to keeping the cash flowing, clients may be hesitant to pay deposits, but like a deposit is also a safeguard against the worst case scenario, which is a client who never pays their bill. While those clients are a few and far between, I hope, from my experience, it hasn't been, but plenty of designers have faced the struggle of getting clients to of paying on time. Late payments compound cash flow issues, and they really cause a lot of headache. And that even stems down to like even you paying your bills and managing the cost. So if your client's not able to pay you, then you can't really manage your cost. So what I would say is come up with your own process for managing the costs and making sure the cash is always flowing with your clients. Have terms in your contract that stay, if they're not going to pay within X amount of time, that you're going to hit them with either a late fee or additional interest or whatever the case is. And I always do bills that are payable upon receipt. So I never say, hey, this is the net 30 or even a net 15 or even a net 2. You pay that bill when I send you the invoice. And it's purely just because you need to keep that cash flowing. Please let me know if you guys have any other questions in regards to your own processes. I would love to help you. So please email me, timothy@theidconsultant.com. I'd love to help you through that process. Check out the designer toolkit. It's $99, online. And it's actually super, super cheap for the amount of content you get. And what I didn't tell people is that I actually have been making surprise phone calls to some people who purchased that. I will give a free 30-minute consultation to a randomly selected person every single month who purchases the designer toolkit. If you are interested in getting a free session, just email me too. I'll be glad to jump on a call with you and talk to you about any kind of challenge you want. Just hit me up, timothy@idconsultant.com. And last but not least, please give me a rating, whether it's negative or positive. I don't really give a shit. I just like ratings. Any feedback is great for me to improve on. So thanks so much for listening in. I love you guys so much. Thanks again, and have a wonderful day.